Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to today's class of Microsoft Office Suite. Today we'll be looking at one of the most exciting and widely used softwares called Microsoft Excel. Now, Microsoft Excel has got a variety of uses. This is a wide software that's got so many functions and you can do so many things with Microsoft Excel. You can use it for data entry, you can use it for data management, you can use it for accounting, for financial analysis, you can use it for time managing, for programming, for financial models, and anything that just needs to be organized. This software is one of the broadest softwares in the world because it's got a variety of functions. The functions that Excel has are too many that there are only possibly a few people in the world that have actually know how to use Excel from the beginning up to the end, because it's too broad and it's too wide. So without wasting much time, let's get into Excel and see what this software has in stock for us. Just like the other softwares that we'll be looking at, it starts with this page where we can have some templates that we can use. We can search online for some templates that we would like to use to make our lives easy, but we'll start by looking at the interface. Now, as you can see, there are a bit of similarities with the other softwares that we looked at, which is Microsoft Word and PowerPoint previously, in that it's got tabs, and under every tab there's a ribbon with different functions and options in store for us. However, you see that one distinction from the other two that we looked at is that for Excel, it's got a whole lot of letters on the top and numbers here and boxes everywhere. Let that not confuse you. I'll explain what that means shortly. So, the first thing that you need to understand about Excel is the terminology that we'll be using. So let me start by explaining a few key terminologies so that as we use them going forth, you will know what we mean. To start with, Excel is divided into rows and columns. So all the numbers that you see here on the horizontal side from number 1 to whatever number that is at the bottom, these are called rows. So what I've highlighted, these are called rows. And on top here from A going all the way to the end, these are called columns. Then if I select one box here, this particular box is called a cell, and every cell in this workbook has got a name. So for example, this cell, the name that makes up a cell is simply the letter followed by the number, which is shown in this box dialog here. So whatever cell I click, like for example, I'll click on this cell, you can see that this is M11 as is stated here, M11. So whatever cell you click has got a corresponding name to it. Then if you select a series of cells, for example the highlighted part right now, this is called a range. So this is our range from here D6 all the way up to here on J18. All this inside here is called the range. So those are some basic functionalities that we need to know. Another thing we need to know is that when you open Excel like this, what we have opened is an Excel workbook. So what we have is an Excel workbook. And just like a normal book, every book has got pages. And however, for Excel, the pages in this case are called sheets. So right now I have this workbook here on sheet number 1. You can click here to open another sheet, which will be sheet number 2, and you can have different information. For example, just type something dummy here, and you can go on sheet 2, and you can type something else as well, and so on and so forth. So these are what we call pages in the books. Here we call them sheets. Another beauty is that you can open as many sheets as possible, and you can rename these sheets to whatever you want. So maybe I'll just say data here on this sheet. Just by double clicking on the sheet, I can rename the sheet to say example maybe, and or whatever name that I want to give the sheet. I can do that below here. Yeah, so basically that's some of the terminologies that are found in Excel. Now, as I mentioned, Excel is widely used for a variety of functions, and one of the main reasons this is the case is because of the limit that Excel gives you. If you look at our columns here, we have numbers from 1 all the way up to, this is 104,000, this is 1,048,576 entries that you can make from number 1 to that large number that I won't mention again. And for the letters, you can go all the way from A up to XFD, meaning after Z, you start now with AA, AB, AC, so on and so forth until you reach XFD, which is a huge area to work with. So that is how Excel is. So let's start by looking at how to input data in Excel. Now, for you to input data in Excel, you have to just click on the cell that you want to input the data, and you can type your data in any of that cell that has been clicked. Like here, I've just written the word type. So as you can see, when you type something there, here what we have here is what we call a formula bar, and we have the same word typed in the formula bar of what is in the cell here. So just to have a practical experience with Excel, we'll have a basic example of how we can use Excel. So let's run a sales company and I have sales representatives who sell a certain product for me. Maybe they sell loaves of bread for me. So I want to charter this in Excel and document how much sales that they made in the first quarter of 2021 and see how they've been performing, who's been selling more than the other, how much has been selling, and so on and so forth. So what I can do, I can start by maybe having my title. Maybe I can say sales in the first half of 2021, like that. Then I can start, you see, I can start by entering maybe sales personnel or their names. So I just say sales person here. This way I'm going to enter their names. So here it looks like the whole sentence has overlapped into the H box. It's not the case. It's only that the H box is empty. That's why it looks like that. If I type something here, like let's say the letter P, you'll see that it's going to disappear. That's because the length of the cell is not long enough to accommodate everything. However, that can be fixed by just going to the midpoint of the two cells and just double clicking, and it will automatically give you the cell in full. Or you can adjust it by clicking and dragging to where you want it to be. It's up to you. So say salesperson. So in my example, I'm going to have maybe 6 sales representatives. I can have John, I can have Lisa, maybe Taonga, I can have Natasha, Mike, and maybe Peter. These are my sales people or my sales representatives. Maybe let me change this to representatives. Representatives. Like that. So these are my sales representatives. Now, another thing I should make mention before I go any further is editing information in the cells. If let's say here, maybe on John, I misspell John like that, and I want to correct this spelling of John by removing these two N's. If I just click on the cell John and just whatever button I click, it deletes everything that's in the cell. As you can see, if I press anything, everything becomes deleted in that cell. So if I want to edit John, I have to double click in the cell, then the cursor will come and I can edit like that, John. Alternatively, I can just click on the cell and go to hit the formula bar where it says John, and I can put it in any way that I want it to be, like that, and it will be edited. So that's how you edit information in the cells. If you just go directly and click and start editing, it deletes the previous information that was there, and it will be difficult for you to edit. So for you to edit, just double click, or alternatively click on the cell, then go in the formula bar, and then you can edit from there. So this is what we have. Then we can just have maybe so I want to put the months which these people sold, but I didn't leave enough space. So another thing you can do is you can always edit and add rows or columns whenever. So like here, I forgot to put a row for the months, so I can just go to 6 here and highlight the entire column, the entire row, sorry, right click and say insert, like that, and a whole row will be inserted and everything goes down under that row that has been inserted. Then here I can similarly delete it if I want to delete it, and say delete the whole row and it will be deleted. So here I can have January, February, March, April, can have May and June. This makes the first half of 2021. Then we can have some hypothetical numbers of how many loaves of bread, for instance, they sold. Maybe John sold 501 in January. Lisa, we can say 124, and so on and so forth. They're just hypothetical numbers that I'm using for example purposes. So we'll fill this in later, but let me just quickly fill this in the interest of time, and then we can continue from there. Just give me a moment. Okay, so I just quickly filled in with hypothetical numbers so that we can see how we can work further from there. So if you look at this information that I've put, it doesn't look too presentable, and we can now edit or format the text that we've written and make it look a bit more presentable. So maybe I can start by increasing the length so that I can see the whole word sales representative like that. Then these cells in the first half, I can change the format that I want by going down here on styles. Then I can choose whichever heading that's applicable to me, or whichever I feel is okay. So for me, I think I'll use heading 1, which is okay. Then maybe I want to center this because I've left some cells on the left, on the right of the heading. So I can highlight all the boxes like that, go here on merge and center, and automatically it will make this into one cell, and we'll have our title like that. Doesn't this look better? I'm sure it does. And we have, we have our information like that. Another thing we can do is add borders. Now, these lines you're seeing, these boxes you're seeing, when it comes to printing or previewing, they will not show. So if we want to put this in table form, we can add borders by highlighting everything, and we can add borders. If you want just one border around everything, maybe you can say box everywhere like that, and you can see now that we have a border everywhere. But if you want to make it maybe like a table where we have everything is highlighted, all the lines inside are highlighted, we can highlight everything again, go on border here, and say maybe all borders like that. So it's up to us to what we can put, which borders we want, but for now I'll leave it just like that. So this is basically how you can edit words or edit text in Excel. Now let's come to the core purpose of Excel, on what makes Excel a great software. What we've been doing right now is simple using of the software that can be done even in Microsoft Word, as we saw previously, or in PowerPoint. But now what distinguishes Excel, or what the core, or what makes Excel a powerful software? And what the reason that makes Excel, or the thing that makes Excel a powerful software, is the function of formulas. Excel can be used as a calculator to calculate large numbers quickly and accurately. So for instance, if I want to add maybe 2 plus 2, I can quickly use maybe this cell as a calculator to just add 2 plus 2. Now whenever you're doing formulas, the first thing you need to start with is the equal sign. You say is equal to, and I can say maybe 2 plus 2, and when I press enter, it will give me the answer, which is 4. Now if you can see in this cell, when I click on this cell, what's being displayed is 4, but if you look at the formula bar, what's being displayed is not 4, compared to when we write text like maybe 501. If you see in this cell the 501, in the formula bar is 501. However, for formulas it's different. The cell will show the product of the formula and not the formula itself, but in the formula bar, what will show is the formula which was used to get to the answer that is in the cell. That's a distinction here when we are adding formulas, as we have seen that 2 plus 2 equals 4. In the cell we have 4, in the formula bar we have 2 plus 2. We can use any mathematical operation. If I want, I can say is equal to maybe 9 times 78, say enter to give us 702, just like that previously. So it can be used as a basic calculator, and that's what's one of the functions that make Excel so powerful. So let's now use calculations to our example here. So I have this information, but what I want from this information is I want to know how much was sold, or how many loaves of bread were sold in each month, and I want to know how many loaves of bread were sold the whole first quarter of 2021. So I can say total here. I can quickly add these together by saying is equal to, click on this cell, press plus, click on this cell, press plus, and so on and so forth. Now you can see that this process will work, and at the end of the day, when I say is equal to, when I say is equal to give me the final figure. But Suppose I had maybe 100,000 entries which I wanted to add. That would take a lot of time to add like that. So let's look at a simple way of adding everything here. The simple way is going in this cell, you say formulas here, you got the formula tab to open the formula ribbon, and there's what we call auto sum here. So you click auto sum. So automatically it highlights everything. Now, it has highlighted this box which is blank, which I don't want. I can easily just go here and drag everything up to which I want to be added like that, and just press enter, and automatically it adds everything. And so it means the month of January we sold 1,362 loaves of bread. However, does it mean for February, March, and April up to June I have to keep going to AutoSum and everything for it to give me? No. Excel saves time. What I can do is just go to this. If I go to the corner here, you see that the sign also changes. We have a big white plus sign, but when I go to the top bottom corner box here, we have the sign changes to a small black cross. If I hold that small black cross on the mouse here and drag everything up to the end like that, it will autofill the formula by adding everything automatically. So what it means is this is a total in this column, as you can see like that. This is a total in this column, as you can see, just by clicking everything I have added. So if I had a variety, all I have to do is drag everything up to the end, and it will add everything for me easily. So I can see that the total loaves of bread sold in January were these, in February, and so on and so forth. And if I want to have the total loaves of bread sold in the first quarter, all I can do is the same thing, say auto sum, and it highlights everything, or I can highlight them like that manually and say okay. So it means I sold 12,791 loaves of bread in this month. Suppose we also want to get the total loaves of bread that was sold by each sales representative. We can also add total here. We can add in the similar manner that we did to get the totals in each month by going here and saying auto sum and highlight January, February, March, April, May, and June. So it has given me the total loaves of bread sold by June in the first quarter of 2021. And similarly, I can drag by going to the bottom right corner and drag everything all the way up to Peter, and it will give me the totals automatically, just like before, of how much each one sold. Suppose I wanted to get the average loaves of bread that's sold by each representative. So I can say average here. I can still get the average in a similar manner, simply by going to the auto sum here. There's an arrow down here. Click on the arrow down here. It will give me average, and I can click on average here. So what average do I want? I want the average of the loaves of bread sold by John in the first quarter. I'll highlight all the figures in the first quarter, and I'll say okay. So it has given me the average loaves of bread that John sold, like that. So John basically sold on average 595 loaves of bread per month in the first quarter of 2021. Now these have got decimal places as well dealing with average. If you don't want to see them, all you can do is highlight them. You can go to home. Here we have an arrow which shows you can increase the decimal places or reduce them. I want to reduce them, so I'll click the arrow until I have no decimal places like that, and you can see the average loaves of bread that each sales representative sold. Suppose we want to go a step further and see the percentage sales that each representative brought to the company in the first quarter. So I can also calculate percentage easily by saying is equal to, how do we calculate percentage? We get the total number of bread sold by John divided by the total number of loaves sold by everyone, and there we have our 0.279. Now this just looks like a decimal figure, which it is. So to make it a percentage, since we want percentage, all we do is go here under our number or options here, and we have percentage there, and we can click percentage like that, and it changes to 28%. So I can drag this down for everything, and it will give me the percentage. And if I add all this, you realize that it's going to give me a total of 100%. There's another shortcut for auto sum here, which we can have there, and you can see that percentage is always out of 100, and the total of all this is always 100%. So this means that John had the highest sales with 28%, and so on and so forth. So basically, this is how we can have some functionalities and use some of the functions in Excel or formulas in Excel to make our life a bit easy. Now, suppose this is not enough for me. Suppose I wanted a graphical representation of these numbers. Can I have that? Well, the answer simply is yes. In addition to formulas and calculations that Excel gives us, it can also give us the function of producing graphs for us based on the information that we feed it. So, suppose I wanted to have the total sales of each sales representative that they sold in this first quarter. I want to have a graphical representation of that. How would I do that? I'll highlight first the names of the sales representatives, hold the control button, then I'll highlight the total number of loaves of bread each of them sold, like that. So these two have been highlighted, so meaning what I want is a graph of the name of the sales representatives and the total number of loaves of bread that they sold. Then I go on insert here, and here on charts we have a variety of charts. I can add a pie chart, I can add a line graph, I can add a bar chart, I can add a histogram, and so on and so forth. So if I want to add the pie chart, when I just hover over a pie chart, it will give me a graphical representation of how the pie chart looks, and I can see here that each segment is represented by the color. If I wanted a bar chart, similarly, just go here. I can have a 2D bar chart, I can have a 3D bar chart, I can have it horizontally. Just by hovering around, I can see what I want and I can choose what I want. So I'll choose a 3D bar chart for the purpose of illustrations, and we have our 3D bar chart there. So we can see from this bar chart that John's bar is the highest, meaning he sold the highest number of loaves of bread, just like the numbers represent, and so on and so forth. But does it end here with the bars, with the graphs? No, you can further edit this chart that we have here to suit your needs. For example, here it says chart title. If I double click, I can edit and say maybe first half sales, like that, and automatically it changes to first half sales. I've titled my graph. Suppose I wanted to go a step further and maybe add the actual quantities that make up these bars. I can go here and have a variety of options I can choose from. I can put title axes if I want on the left and on the right by clicking here. I can put data labels if I want, and you can see now numbers have been displayed, the exact numbers which represent each bar that have been displayed, and so on and so forth. So if I don't like how this is looking and I need to be more stylish, I can go on the top here and I can hover around any of these other styles that we have there, like that, and I can see until I see something that's more applicable or appealing to my eyes or how I want it to be presented. So maybe I go with this black one, or yeah, maybe this looks good. Maybe I'll go with this one or this one. It's up to you. Choose to whichever is most applicable to you. So for me, I'll just go with this one, for instance, and we have a change in the style of our graph, just like that. And so this is how we can present graphs on our Excel sheet here. Now, another great function of Excel that I want to bring to your attention is this. Suppose I've gone all this way, I've entered the information, I've got my information, and I've created graphs for it. And then I realized to say, oh no, I've actually made a mistake. I've underwritten the sales of John in the month of maybe January. Maybe John had 1,000 loaves in January. Does it mean I have to start all over editing and inserting the formulas and putting the table? Certainly not. I can edit because I have connected the graph to the totals here, and totals connected by the formula to all this, to add all this. Just simply by changing any figure here, the totals automatically will change here, the totals automatically change here, and the graph representation will automatically change just by changing one figure, because they are all interlinked. On top of that, the average will also change, and the percentages will also change because of the change in just one figure. Let's see how we can do that. So suppose in January, John actually didn't sell 501 loaves of bread, but maybe sold 1,200 loaves of bread. And I've changed that just by typing 1,200. When I change that and I press enter, as you can see, everything has changed. The totals have changed, the percentage has changed, it's moved from 28% to 32%, and the graph has gone higher while the others have gone lower. Let me make that change again so that you can see the change in graph. Maybe I increase it to 1,500. Look at the graph here. You'll see that this bar will go higher while the others will become lower, like that. automatically, just by changing one figure, everything else changes. So if I made a mistake on anyone's figures, I can simply just change their figures there like that, and everything will change according to the change that I've made just by a click of a button. I don't have to go all the way to the beginning and start all over, entering the formulas, entering the formatting, the charts all over. No, I can just change here and everything changes, say 20,000, and automatically Natasha becomes the highest seller just by entering that margin. And even the percentages, as you can see, all the percentages change accordingly. So basically, this is how you use Excel. This is the basic functionality of Excel. Like I mentioned earlier, Excel is very broad and there are a lot of functions that you can use to go with Excel. You can create pivot tables, you can link one sheet to the other, one table to the other. You can basically do a lot of things as mentioned earlier. But this is how far we go for now. This is where we end today's class. Hope this was beneficial to all. Thank you very much. We'll continue tomorrow. Have a good day.